are going to deal with a very important matter. I just want to give you a slight background of what we are dealing with in the name of Raymond David. Now, June 18, 2025, Raymond was arrested by two Guyana police officers carrying the name one Pyle, the other one Jerome, telling him that he is accused of a murder. This murder, he said, that it allegedly happened in Suriname. On that set date, June 18, 2025, Raymond was taken, having been arrested by the Guyana police, to the Rumvelt police station, in which it was recorded in the official book of the police force that Raymond was arrested for an alleged murder. On the 19th of June 2025, Raymond was transported to the Springlands police station, and at around 6 a.m. that morning, 6 police officers who were recognized later from Suriname took Raymond David from the Springlands police station, having been handed over by the police there, and he was taken by boat to Suriname. Now, Raymond David has retained counsel in Suriname, and they have verified that at no point in time the Surinamese authorities were investigating Raymond David for any murder. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we are dealing with a case of extradition, but because of the manner in which this is done, we are clearly faced with a situation which it was kidnapping. I will allow Mr. Corbin as well as Mr. Smart to go through the very important elements of extradition, and then I will come back to discuss with you how we are going to deal with this matter in the most condign form.
Good morning, all. Now, the extradition proceedings in Guyana is covered by the Fugitive Offenders Act, commonly known as Chapter 1004. And there are a few things that we must note in order for one person to be extradited. Now, the requirements as set out by the statute is that the person who can be extradited are persons who are accused or convicted of a serious offense, and must be punishable by no less than 2 years imprisonment. It means that the individual who they are being sought to be extradited must presently be charged before a competent court. Now, secondly, the requirement for extradition must also fit in within the regime of the country requesting the extradition must be a Commonwealth state or a country to which Guyana has a extradition treaty with, right? So those are the foundations of the requirement. What has to happen next is that an extradition request must be submitted to the Minister of Foreign Affairs as well as the Minister of Home Affairs in our case, and the request must have particular documentation along with it. Those documents are, there must be an arrest warrant, there must be a certificate of conviction and sentence if the person has been convicted, and there must be legal provisions and facts supporting the request. After the request is made through the diplomatic channels, The minister is then has the ability to evaluate the extradition request to determine whether the crimes that they are bringing fits within the regime. After that is done, the minister then will prepare a document referred to as the authority to proceed. Now, this document is very critical in extradition requests because it signals that the government of Guyana has certified the documents received from the country making the request for the extradition, and it is then basically at the government level official. Now, once that document has been certified and provided, it then heads to the magistrate court. Now, the magistrate is required to issue an arrest warrant, after which a committal hearing will be conducted to determine whether there is a prima facie, or as we would normally say, on the base level, based on the facts presented, that there is a case for extradition. Now, the procedure does not end there. There is then particular rights available to the person who will be extradited, meaning that the person can file for habeas corpus to challenge the legality of their detention. This could go all the way up to the Court of Appeal. However, it should be noted that the important requirements at this stage has to be the approval at the government level by the minister. Once the court upholds the decision and they find a prima facie case of extradition, the minister then signs an order for surrender. Now, there are particular protections within the statutory framework that protects the individual that is sought to be extradited, and an extradition may be barred if the request is politically motivated, the individual is at risk of discrimination or unfair treatment, or the requesting country's law does not prevent re-prosecution of unrelated offenses. Once all of this is completed, the person will then be formally handed over to the requesting state, and that will be all for me. Thank you.
So what you heard there is a very short summary of how extradition is done procedurally. In this case, there was no such document or requests. All that happened is police officers usurped, using their powers, allow a Guyanese citizen to be arrested in his country for an alleged crime which is not on the record in Suriname. And the reason we took some time before we brought this matter to the attention of the public is that we took enough time to do our groundwork. Every document, every station, every investigative arm in Suriname had been contacted through the legal team. And it was confirmed that there was never any such allegation of Raymond David being involved in a murder. Where did the police in Guyana get that information from? I believe they will have to answer that. But this cannot be for Suriname. So there are two worrying things that happened here. One, the offense in which Raymond David was arrested for in Guyana does not exist at all. So that request could never have come from the Surinamese authorities. The second thing that is of great worry here is that, unheard of, I don't know if this has been happening before, but it has now come to our attention, and we will say to us, and we will say to the Guyanese public, that there is no law which permits without all of that procedure outlined by Mr. Corbyn, for the Surinamese authorities, in this case the police, to enter our borders and to exercise that lawful authority of arrest in this jurisdiction without the permission or without any law which governs and protects them. So, outright, we're seeing here that this operations in relation to the movement of a Guyanese citizen from this country, Guyana to Suriname, was without the protection of the law of a Guyanese citizen from Guyana to another country. We do have his sister who I believe will want to say clearly some of the impact this unlawful act has caused to not only Mr. Raymond's business, but to his family. Go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Medisha Alda. I'm Raymond's elder sister. And this whole entire situation hit our family unexpectedly because my brother is a very sorry about that. Yes, because my brother is a very law-abiding citizen. You understand? And if he wasn't a law-abiding citizen, he was never going to go willingly with the officers when they came here to his business place and said they wanted to talk to him. You understand? So our family is feeling violated in many ways because we are born Guyanese. We were born here. You understand? And my mother, she went away. She left for Suriname when we were young. She brought us with her. So we didn't grow up in Guyana, but we are born Guyanese. And the way they treated my brother, the way they treated him is like, it's worse than, I don't even have words. It is impacting my family in a serious way. My dad is a sickly man. I lost my mom a year ago. And look, my dad is taking this thing, it's telling on him. You understand? It's really impacting this family in a great, it's really impacting this family. And not to mention how they embarrass my brother. They drag his name. So a respectable man, they just drag his name through the dirt in Guyana here. What is the motive for it? I have no idea. You understand? They came to his business. They take him in front of his workers. They bring him to his home. They take his money, his stuff. They take it out of his house. I honestly believe they did it with the thinkings that this is a Surinamese man. So we're going to violate him and nothing is going to come out of it. So with that being said, this is impacting the man business greatly. As you could see, sales has gone down a great lot. You know, it is impacting our lives in a very negative way.
Thank you so much. Now, importantly to note is that, and this is a part that we are very worried about as well. At Springland Station, when this Raymond David was removed from Rumvelt to Springlands, we are a bit worried that the police hid their faces. So we don't know what vehicle he was transported in from Rumvelt to Springlands. And the identity of the police or the persons who took him there remains unknown because he recalls that they hid their faces. And that is why he was saying to them as they were taking him in the vehicle where are you taking me to kill me? Because at some point in time, he was not aware where he was going. It was only until he got to Springlands police station that he realized, and he is of the opinion that it probably would have been police members who transported him there. He does know that the people who took him, the 6 men who took him at Springlands, are not the same who transported him. And so that is why he can verify that the Surinamese police did not come all the way to Rumveld police station. That they were actually, he met them at the Springlands police station, where they took him by boat over to Suriname. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Smart, who is going to talk a bit about our action on moving forward in relation to this matter.
Good morning. So the first thing we're going to do is filing an urgent application before the court, a constitutional action, seeking certain declarations from the court. First and foremost, seeking declaration that his arrest, detention, and removal from Guyana was unlawful, breach of the Fugitive Offenders Act, and should not be taken lightly. It's also a violation of his fundamental rights. We also intend on seeking a writ of mandamus, compelling the government of Guyana to use all diplomatic means and all diplomatic channels to let the government of Suriname know that this young man, was removed from Guyana's shores by illegal means. The court has made such declaration that he should be returned immediately. We also intend on seeking punitive and exemplary damages for this young man, as his rights were breached. The laws of Guyana that protects him were also disregarded, and he should be compensated for such. This action will be brought against the state, the Minister of Home Affairs, the Commissioner of Police, and the police officers who are named to have been there at the time. Thank you.
Mr. Raymond David remains in custody of the Surinamese authorities as we speak. Our instructions are clear. Some years ago, over 10 years ago, there was some form of investigation surrounding narcotics, and he was named as a person of interest that the police wanted to question. Now, because of the amount of years being elapsed, the main investigator who was dealing with that matter, I don't believe is still within the service. So what they are doing is they are going through looking as much as possible to see what really the information was at that time many years ago that would have required him to be questioned. Now, this type of questioning, etc., I believe, even if it's legitimate, our position is that it still would have needed to be done within the confines of the law, and that was not followed. All right? So I open for any questions in relation to Raymond David.
Sorry,
Natasha Logan and CN News. Have you guys been in contact with the Surinamese authorities? I know Mrs. Smart says you guys are doing the right thing to the government, etc. But have you personally been in contact with Surinamese authorities? You said that you obtained a lawyer over here as well. Have you been in contact? What are they saying? Is he okay? Where is he being held?
You are correct. There is a legal team in Suriname that we are working together, and they have confirmed in relation from the Surinamese level that no such request was made. He is being held in the detention center. I'm not too sure of the name of it.
Santa Boma.
Santa Boma. And so he is there, and he has full access to counsel. Counsel has been visiting him regularly and been getting updates and instructions. But as it is, since he was taken there, he has only twice has he been interviewed in relation to this narcotics, that they're saying that they will have to wait until they get like more documentations, because many of the persons dealing with him at this present time are not so au fait with why so many years ago he was wanted as a person for custody.
So
What the local authorities are telling you about this entire fiasco?
I can say that all the local authorities were sent letters requesting. I listen. I am aware from all circumstances and from when I visited the police and went on the ground that this could not have been a situation in which the authorities had received any documentation. So all we were doing is notifying them by way of letter that such an act actually took place under their watch. Serious consequences. All right, but I don't believe any of the authorities in Guyana can say that a request was made to them.
he is Guyanese citizen by birth,
Yes.
but he would have been living in Suriname for some time. Wouldn't he have obtained citizenship there?
He's not a
No.
citizen of Suriname.
Okay.
We were able to confirm that.
All right, so he's there. Has any request been made for bail or so on? If they're on the grounds of the narcotics investigation?
Yes. The legal system there is a bit different from us here in relation to that. Bail is not so easily granted in situations where you were brought back to the country in such a format. But it is something I believe the legal team there is looking at. We will speak with them again today, because the actions we will be filing in Guyana will be the similar actions they are filing in Suriname. And we're recalling the authorities to really answer. I can say from all instructions received so far is that the authorities there are a bit surprised as well that this has happened.
So given the surprise, what is the Commissioner of Police saying?
Well, remember this was a person, Commissioner of Police in Guyana or in
No,
Suriname?
Suriname.
In Suriname. I don't know that the commissioner in Suriname has taken a particular position. He is there, and they're treating it as though he is in custody, and they're going to continue their investigations on that.
What are local police saying to you?
The local police is doing. Let's be clear. The local police is doing what they know to do best. And we all know that in Guyana, remain silent. So I am surprised sometimes when we go to court and they sometimes want to frown on persons who have remained silent in their investigation. We had one lawyer advising her client, thank God she's a magistrate now, advising her client to remain silent. And she was arrested for remaining silent. And the police themselves are remaining silent in this matter. So I think we should have them all arrested. They're remaining silent. So they are saying nothing about this unlawful act of kidnapping one of our own citizens and taking him out of the country. Are there any other questions?
Mr. Smart, when will you go forward with the application?
Well, because of this urgency, we're looking to do that by Friday, which is tomorrow. We'll try to have that filed and served by tomorrow.
And the serving will be individually or collectively?
Well, individually, as you know, the Attorney General Chambers represents the state. So that's the first person we'll be serving, but we'll also serve the Minister's office and the Commissioner's office. And I believe we will share a copy of it with the media after that is filed.
This matter has to, I know that the High Court is, and that's one of the challenges we face. It's a good challenge, not a bad challenge. The judges work hard and they need rest. But I know the court is in recess. But this is a very, very urgent matter. And it's very serious because the consequences, the implications for Guyanese, I believe if this matter is not dealt with condignly, it will remain unsettled. Because what has happened, it sends out a message that another country, their authorities, can walk in our borders, a sovereign state, pick up a citizen of this country and take them out back. So forget about the court system. Forget about the procedures outlined in law. I can snatch you. And for that to happen under the Guyana Police Force's watch is worrying. We are already faced with a situation in this country where the police are not investigating matters the way they ought to. But and so when it comes to their motto, service and protection, this is now taking this up to another level, in which someone can come from another country and take us out. So it has very serious implications, not only for the citizens, but for a country that is sovereign. It's not allowed. We have listened about, and I wish not to belabor the point, but sometimes I think it is important that we say how impactful these cases are in relation to Burke and in relation to the Honorable Chief Justice's ruling in relation to what the police did to go outside of Guyana to serve a summons. It reminds us that countries are sovereign, and you can't just move as you like and pick up and just operate as though we're in a global space and we're dealing with a global law. There's no, this is a very, very serious action of the police.
You said the investigation, of course, took time. You did groundwork, but naysayers may say this may be a political move, and why not? What say you?
Well, I don't want to say it's a political move. I mean, I don't know that our client has any political interest. So I don't want to align this to politics at all. I think this is listen, we have a theory based on our instructions as to who are the persons who would have been involved in this. This is clearly people with communications and contacts. Because our client was doing business with police officers here. So everybody thinks that, okay, I have contact in Suriname, and I could pick up the phone and I could call them and so on. I mean, I don't want to get to the point that the Surinamese authorities, and this is on document, that we can bring the attorneys in Suriname to verify this, that the Surinamese authorities did not even know that this person is Raymond David, because there was no request for Raymond David. They thought that the person that they were handing over was another person who was involved in a murder. So that is why they were eager to jump over into our borders and to take that man out. It is only when they got there they realized this man is not nothing to do with murder. I know we heard a situation where a young girl, I believe, was murdered in French Guyana. And so that is the information they are working with. So this here is not only touches the elements of mistaken identity, but it also touches on concerns that the police can pick up the phone, call their counterparts, and say, we have somebody you want, come and get them.
Could you say who that person, the name of the person is that you were saying the mistaken identity could have been?
No, I don't want to call the name of the person. All I'm saying, I'm giving you what are our instructions. As I said, we are working with the team as well in Suriname, the legal team. All right, and this is what was expressed to them. That only when this man got there and when the investigators started to deal with him, realized, oh no, it's not Raymond David. But as I said, because of the fact that when they checked their records, he was a person of interest many years ago in relation to narcotics questioning, they kept him. But they were eager to come off, so even the police officers from Suriname are saying clearly to the lawyers that they were misled. They were misled when they came over to these borders and collected that man. But the point I am making is that to have the Guyana police force, who are supposed to serve and protect us in this country, to have them cooperate with their counterparts in another country, to violate our laws in this country, violate our extradition laws, and to come over in this country and to take us. I first was thinking that maybe they took him by way of backtrack over to Suriname, but I didn't realize that it is so brave and so bold-faced that the police authorities can come into our country and pick up someone without any proper documentation. I hope that the authorities in this country, and when we file those matters, will take this matter as far as to get the identity of all 6 of those police officers, and they must be placed before the courts in Guyana. Because it's a violation of our laws. And it must not be dealt with, it must not be treated lightly.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So if there are no other questions in relation to Raymond David,
The father wants to say something.
No, it's all right. No, I'm thinking Mr. Todd. This could be for next forum, next. Mr. Todd, good morning, sir. I would, of course, get one five.
all right, let me take it just off. Your comments are rude.
Okay, sir.
Yes, you're head guy.
You give us an update on Adriana?
Good. Thank you. Now I come to the update of Adriana Younge. As you notice that this matter has been under investigation for some time. And this flows from the crime chief's last report to the media that the matter is still active. Now, there are a number of things that we would wish to address in relation to that. With taxpayers' money, a Canadian retired investigator came to Guyana. We met with him, myself and the parents and the aunt of this young girl. I outlined to the investigator that this is the components of this investigation is very complex. And therefore, it will require a number of focal points, and if so be experts, to deal with those various aspects of this investigation. Within 4 days after we spoke, we heard that the investigator left Guyana and a report was handed to the police, or handed to the government. From the report, we have not seen the report, so I will not comment in depth in relation to the report. But I will say as far what is in the public's domain is that there were certain utterances coming out from that report. That being that this is not a homicide investigation, and that the pool was not searched properly, and that the police had done a very thorough investigation, and that the handling of this young girl's body from the crime scene to the hospital to the mortuary was the best he has ever seen in all his 30 years. Now, we have a number of concerns here. He completed his investigations. Now we have a situation where the crime chief is saying the investigation is active. So it is a legitimate question. At the time in which the expert, it's not the expert, but the investigator, Canadian investigator, at the time in which he concluded his investigations, what was the stage of this matter? What was the stage of this matter? And which portions of the investigation remains open? I want to put on record that when we came on board of this matter, we selected a number of very experienced persons to assist privately with gathering information. Now that aided us in, of course, all the videos, etc., that we saw on social media. All those things were downloaded. All those things are being analyzed now at this stage. So a number of persons have said that they have not been interviewed. Now these persons were seen on the video. They were seen on the crime scene. They were seen at certain intervals. We all saw them. Those persons have never been interviewed by the police. And so, at this stage, we are going to be calling on the police as we are going to be assisted by next week to have a report and some form of expanded photograph of the identity of certain persons. Some of them we have already gotten their names, and we are going to be asking the police whether these persons were interviewed. The police cannot say that these persons refused to give statements because they did not. They were never contacted by the police. And so that is what I want. When they talk about this over 400 pages of report, I am a bit concerned where they got those things from. Because the key person, I can tell you, the person who started the life of this young girl being missing was never interviewed by the police, was never contacted by the police. That person who started the life never moved from that scene. Never moved from that scene. Now, she contacted us, and the first question I asked her is, why is it that if you had given a statement to the police, then we would at some stage see what you have submitted to the police. Don't discuss that with us. I understand police, I understand the protocols very well. I understand the conversations one can have during an active investigation, and I'm very careful in that. So I don't want to speak, or I have never spoken with anyone who the police have engaged and are dealing with. She outrightly said, I was never contacted by the police. And I have always been willing to give a detailed statement of everything I saw. And so she was advised to go ahead and to get her own attorney that she feels comfortable with, and to prepare that statement. That statement was prepared. That statement, I believe, was received yesterday, and so we are in the process of sending that to the police to see whether they have received that and whether that is also a consideration that they will take into this matter. So this whole question of the police's conduct in this matter, I believe, also gives a grave problem in this matter. Because from the beginning, we were asking the police, who are the investigators? And this question was being asked not because the legal team wanted to be in any way controversial to the police, but we understood the importance of this matter. We understood the fact that this matter had taken on recognition globally. And so we, as a legal team, we wanted to make sure that we support every single aspect where there are calls for experts to come in. We wanted to be able to recommend that, to cooperate. The police had remained silent on who the investigators are in this matter. So until now, we don't know who headed this investigation. We don't even know who to contact. We don't know who to contact. We don't know who to say outside of that, because clearly, when we met with the Commissioner of Police was not fully briefed at the time and was waiting on the crime chief to get certain information. We wrote, Mr. Smart is here. Mr. Smart wrote a letter as agreed out of that meeting that we will write asking certain questions and getting certain clarifications. To this date, there has been no response to our letter. The only letter that we received a response to is when we requested a copy of the final postmortem report. And I would say we are in possession of that the police did hand that over at some time to us. And that report immediately went to the Dr. Carol Terry in Georgia, because as Dr. Terry explained, it's basically her role is basically one of quality assurance, of going over everything that was done. The questions posed by Dr. Terry still remains unanswered, because at this point in time, and I'm going to say this clearly, I don't believe the police are going to cooperate with Dr. Terry outside of giving her that report. Because if the police were interested in cooperating with that, with Dr. Terry and their request, their posture and their response to us as the legal team would have been quite different. Dr. Terry has questioned in relation to looking at videos, photographs of the pool, trying to determine whether there was anything in the pool that could have trapped her. She also requested very clear details in relation to the tile pattern, and that went now towards various impressions which were seen in the body, and wanted to see whether that was consistent with that of the tile in the pool. More than half of the pool, there are no tiles. No tiles. And so, really and truly, then, an important question that we had asked, if they did a toxicology report examination, where did they get the water from? Because at the time when the autopsy was done, that pool was empty. There was no water in that pool. So if they did take water from that pool, when did that happen? Because there were persons there, and that is what I'm saying, there were persons there remaining there at that crime scene who did not move and who could attest that they did not see the police remove any of that. So we have a number, and you see, this whole question in relation, that is why Dr. Terry wanted to see the toxicologist's report, because it is suggesting here that the only test that was conducted was to see whether there was any drugs in the girl's system, but not to test whether the fluids found in her body or that is the same of the pool. That test was not done at all. So there are too many unanswered questions in relation to this. And more importantly, we are aware, and we want to put this on record, we are aware that the cameras at that hotel, the cameras were active. We are aware of that. We are aware as well that there are statements given to the police in relation to what they saw on the phone of a person of interest to that hotel. So so this whole question of I don't know if the police are waiting until I know that these things are stored in the clouds, and we currently have another expert looking at that. But the thing about it is that if the police think that they are going to wait until all these things are disappeared out of the clouds and you can't get any type of footage whatsoever, then to come to tell the public, or at some stage to say that we have no video, it remains questionable. We are also aware of the amount of DVRs that were handed over to the police that were retrieved from this. There are witnesses who saw when the police removed the DVR from the building. There are witnesses. There are witnesses who saw how many DVRs were handed over. And I can tell you the numbers differ. The numbers differ. I'm not going to call the numbers. They know the numbers. But I'm saying, not because the family and the legal team, we are not engaging the police on these various points, that they must think that the knowledge is not there in relation to what is going on in this matter. But as I said, we will not pursue a matter in court calling on the police to act in this investigation because the police remain on record in saying that this matter is active. And so if there is any challenge, we're experienced lawyers. We know people are calling and saying, let us go to the court, let us go to the court. But if we go to the court and compel the police to do certain things, it is likely to be deemed a premature matter because the police are saying that the matter is still under investigation and it's still active. So we are awaiting for the police to say they have concluded their investigations. And then we are going to present very clearly what is it we have. Then we are going to compare what the police has done and what we know from the investigations which were done on the ground. And then we will definitely battle this out in court. But we are calling on the police to recognize that their continued posture in this matter continues to be very worrying. You can't have an investigator submitting and saying certain findings, and then the crime chief is coming to say that the investigation is still active. Are they going to recall the investigator to now review additional work done on the matter? Is the investigator going to amend his report? So I think every time the message goes out there and it conflicts with what has been done before, it further opens the wound of the family members. And they of themselves are worried what is really happening in this matter. I now open for questions. All right, if there are no questions, I'm reminded of a gentleman who opened a party at the national, taking off camera, at the national